Hello, everybody. It's Travelicious D here, one half of the Conversationally Thriving with Lymphedema family. And we are here to talk about a unique topic, dating with lymphedema. And we are going to bring on our panel of speakers. We've got some amazing people ready to talk about dating in real life, real time. So we've got Cameron Ayala, we've got Chronically Moni, we have Stefan John and his lovely wife, Antonia, joining us. So let's bring them on screen and let's start this conversation. Hi, guys. How are we?
Doing fabulous. How are you?
Amazing. I'm happy. It's sunny. It's warm. Can't complain about that, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
I can. I'm in Houston, and it's too hot and it's too humid. So have all the extremes.
You always seem to have really nice weather down there, Cam. So
yeah, between the hurricanes and the flooding and the ice storms, it's pretty good. Other than that,
yeah.
I mean, at least y'all don't got Florida weather. Our weather is like super bipolar, so we don't know what we're gonna get tomorrow or today. So.
Well, that's pretty much Canada now as well. So, we're with you. What about you, Monique?
I'm in Atlanta, so it's great. It's hot. It's like 86-ish, sunny, and busy.
I'm sure. Summer's already started everywhere, right?
Yeah.
We're not quite cracking into June yet, but so let's kick this off really expressing, the ins and outs of our experiences and what, we can relate to our community about what dating with lymphedema is really like. Living with a chronic illness can be a challenge at best, but let's start this off with the funniest or most embarrassing moment in your dating history. I love that Antonia's looking at you already.
I mean, dating history, funniest moments, that's a lot. I mean, but I'll say probably just taking the chance and funniest moment.
I mean, we've been together for so long.
It's kind of hard to.
Is it hard to remember?
Yeah, it sounds like an old couple, but it is kind of hard because most of our relationship was long distance. So with that time, all we could have done was like talk and just build that foundation. So we had a lot of moments of ups and downs, rounds, and just a lot of jokes in between. So it's really hard to pick one, to be very honest with you. It's very hard. I might have to swing back again to think.
Okay, we'll swing back to you. Cam, let's go around in the circle then.
I'd say funniest and most embarrassing dating moment for me would be dating the same girl as 29 other guys on national television. So
fair, yeah.
Yeah, but I'd say beyond that, and I'm sure we may get to this in some capacity in the conversation, one thing, dating is hard in general, regardless if you have a chronic condition or you're perfectly normal by society standards. But with the advent of online dating profiles and dating apps, it leaves people the readily chance to be the term catfished, right? Where someone is not who they are really portraying themselves to be in their profile. So that's happened a couple times. So I guess that could be embarrassing in, some capacity, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the online dating world, I mean, I've been in it far too long, shall I say, and it's a whole different ballgame, right? I mean, and I think it's a little bit harder now while we have all this technology. Are we losing that real conversation?
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because we can talk as much as we want on screen. But we all know in reality, our conversations could lead us in different directions.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? We miss body language. I think that's the biggest thing. I think even when we're doing video, you still miss certain elements of body language.
Yes.
Monique?
Oh, gosh. I have a plethora of them, actually. But
that's why I circled back to you.
I really do. I even recent experience. I'll tell y'all later. But one of the most, it wasn't embarrassing to me, but it was funny. Before my lymphedema got like progressively worse, like I want to say I was like 18.
Okay.
So I was relatively normal looking. I was making out with a guy, you know, we'd been dating for a while, and we were on the couch and he started rubbing on my leg. He's like, "Damn, girl, you run track. These calves are hitting." I was like, "Yeah, baby, I run all through your mind."
I like that one. I like it. That's
Solid.
my kind of jokes. I like that.
So
I like
that was
that.
like a funny, embarrassing, but not embarrassing moment.
Yeah, but that's funny though.
It is funny, but it's a good way to take and turn something, right?
Of course.
I think that's the part that I really want us to be able to highlight is, while it can be challenging, it can also have some amazing moments where we can, you know, move around the illness as opposed to have to go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's jump into the opposite of that. And what's the, you know, most memorable bad date? Because I know we all got one. Come on now.
Yeah. Got a few bad ones.
We had bad days.
We had a few bad ones.
Do you want me to start to give you time to think?
I'm
sure you're being put on the spot with your wife right
man.
next to you, you know,
sometimes.
underneath the screen,
Exactly.
right? She may,
It's like, listen, make sure it's the right answer.
yeah,
You know?
she may got a pocket knife right there, like choose your words wisely.
Remember the ones we discussed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You know?
But
yeah,
I would. Well, I would say real quick,
okay.
give you a little bit more time. So, most memorable bad date. I kind of want to like summarize it into like a bad relationship, because there are a lot of dates in that relationship. But I think when you have a chronic disease like lymphedema, you're reminded every single day of what some of your limitations are, sometimes physically. And when you have complications because of your lymphedema, like me, for example, I've had a lot of bouts of infection in my knee, which has required emergency surgeries.
Right.
Me pre-surgery versus me post-surgery is like Jekyll and Hyde, right? Two very different people, right? So it's not like I'm happy one moment and super angry and irritable the next, but the physical limitations that I have post-surgery, right, is going to impact the relationship. So I had one relationship that was pretty toxic in the sense that when I was going through a bout of infection and surgery recovery, you know, she was there initially, you know, doing all the right things, saying all the right things, but in moments of disagreements, there was a lot of passive aggressive things that was said that really kind of made me feel like less of a person for having this disease, lymphedema, which I have no control over, right? Even being a very compliant patient, doing all the things that your therapist and doctor tell you to do, lymphedema has a mind of its own. And when your body starts to flare up or act a certain way, and you're in a relationship where that person doesn't quite understand that or can't give you that empathy, it can start to affect you as an individual, right? So you don't necessarily feel worthy of love, or maybe you start to believe some of those hurtful things that a loved one or someone that you're in a relationship says to you. So I know it's kind of a long-winded way of saying, but just some of the difficulties I've had with lymphedema has spilled over into very passive aggressive conversations with ex-girlfriends who just at the end of the day couldn't handle being a caretaker or assisting some of the needs that I had at that time, and will probably continue to have as I get older.
Right. That's a challenge for sure. Do you still need more time, Stefan?
No, I got it. It's just, it's not for us. It's a little bit different because, you know, from the jump, you know, Antonia's kind of been on my journey with my lymphedema, you know, from the times of me getting help and everything like that. She stuck by me and she understood, like, she loves me more than the lymphedema, you know. So with lymphedema, without lymphedema, she's here for me, you know. So regardless, that's how it was. So like for us, a bad date would be us somebody falling asleep on a Zoom call or on like a video call, you know. That's what our bad dates were, because we had distance, you know. So the time we actually got together, we made sure like arguments was never really like it's bigger than that. The relationship is bigger. Like this is a time to spend together. So it's not like we have the fairy tale relationship, but it's the happily ever afterwards. After all the happy moments that we got to share, we're now seeing that moments of just the day by day living. So I really don't want to say like we have so much bad dates. We really don't, because we spent it so differently.
I still won't call them bad dates. Like I remember this one time he came back home and we went to the beach and his friends were they probably didn't notice before, and they were friends with him before I started dating him. Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Yo, Stefan, what's up with your leg?" And I was like, couldn't they just pretend they didn't see, And I'm trying to draw attention away from it. And he just answered them. He's like, I have a medical problem. It's no big deal. And I was there thinking in my head, how can I reassure him that nothing's wrong with him? It's okay to be on the beach with your legs out and not care what other people think about it. But I find myself a lot of the times, not now, but back then, I want to make sure that he is comfortable wherever we go. Right. So at that time, we didn't have this community. We didn't have the opportunities to talk about what he was going through. So I wouldn't say to him, "Oh, Stefan, let's go to the pool. Let's go to the beach," because I know he may feel insecure about that. So I tried my best to, not put him in positions where he's going to say no, and then I'm going to feel bad,
That's good support. Right. And that's also shows that you guys communicate. Like you said, Stefan, like you don't want to count that there's bad because you always turned it and you always pushed through it. Right. Which is not necessarily what everybody's capable of doing.
Exactly.
Unfortunately. Right.
But it takes time. It's time and patience. Like anything else, you have to invest the time. You have to be patient enough to see things through. Just nowadays, everything is such a microwave syndrome. Everybody wants it like a minute and 30 left. Like we can't, you got to invest the time. We have to be willing to invest the time. Like when was the last time you just had those like high school conversations when you were on the phone for hours? Like time is going, but people don't do that no more.
No, they don't wait for the crack of dawn to go. Are you hanging up or am I?
There's none of that no more. But when you have that, that's all we could have done, so we built our foundation of our relationship off of communication. And we all hear the old timers and the people that been together for like 50 plus years and all of this, they always say communication is not going to always be sunshines and rainbows and daisies and roses and all of that, but you get through the rocky moments with communication.
Yeah, very true. Very true. As with any relationship, right? Yeah. I think it's going to be very interesting to hear what Monique has to say.
I mean, like I said, I have a plethora of stories. So I think for me, it's a twofold thing. Like early in my dating years, it was more of an emotional and insecurity about my lymphedema that made situations bad, right? I walked into bad situations because I felt desperate for somebody to love me for as I was. And so I would just choose the wrong guys to share my time with. And so that led to a lot of just like bad experiences. And I felt like if I was in my right mind and I felt proud of who I was, I wouldn't have even considered them in a dating way. Like, oh, I'm good. Like, for instance, like a couple years ago, I dated a total con man, like a literal con man. Like, I met him online. I swiped left. I still don't know how he was able to message me on the app, to be honest. And I was like, oh, okay, well, okay. And so I made a lot of excuses, like a lot of things where, oh, well, I wouldn't date this type of guy, but then, well, because he liked me, I'm going to figure out a way to like him. That was kind of my mentality. And he was a total con man, like not his name, not his job, made a fake badge. Like it was a whole thing. And so I think for me, that's where my lymphedema played a bigger part. in my dating experience is that insecurity that I had. And now I really recognize like the physical aspect of it, where now that I'm more confident and I'm like, whatever, it's more being fetishized because I'm a Black woman. And like, for instance, recently I was at the grocery store, had my mask on. Guy comes up to me, "You're so beautiful." In my head, I'm looking like, "Sir,
How do you
sir,
know?
how do you know?"
How do you know?
Yeah, under the mask, like, you know. But I know it's because of my butt. You know what I mean? Like, he likes bigger women, but he was cute. So I was like, okay. And it was a horrible day. I can laugh about it now because it was a potentially dangerous situation. To make all story short, we went to the movies, which I hate for first dates, but I was like, okay, I'm not going to be problematic. And he whipped out his member. Yeah, like in the movie theater. Yeah, so I was like, what in the world? So these are the things that I deal with, like, being fetishized. So it's just being careful, like, you like me for me, or is it because I have big legs or a big butt or whatever that you're wanting to talk to me? And what is it that you want because of it? And then the other side, like I said earlier, is just more feeling insecure and choosing wrong people because, and making those, oh, well, because he does this and because he does that, I'll take this and I'll take that. So, yeah.
Right. Well, if I may, I'll share my worst one. Because I am secondary lymphedema, it was a very interesting experience to meet someone at a convention and think, oh, maybe there's a spark. Ironically, they live in Atlanta. And things were well. We engaged really well at during the time we were in the destination, and I got the proverbial, I'll call you when I get home, kiss goodbye, safe trip home, and then ghost. Just complete ghost. Now, I have breast cancer. I guess somebody Googled and asked some people and found out that, there's a potential that my life may not be very long. So he decided he didn't need to even say goodbye.
Wow.
And I thought, this was the first attempt that I had tried to, engage with someone, because going through breast cancer and, changes to your body, and then you throw on lymphedema on top of it, was really hard to come through. And I thought, well, how could anybody ever want to be with me? Right? You look at yourself in a different perspective when your body is not like everybody else's, that how could somebody want that body? And I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of people to get past, and to see that they're worthy and that they're, that someone would want them for themselves. Right. So just like you were saying, Moni, just being fetishized, being put in this box and not being just a person. And I think right now, as we're coming out of COVID, it's going to be really interesting to see how we all engage with each other. I mean, you all down in the US seem to be engaging with each other a lot more than we are up here in Canada. But, having more in-person time is going to be interesting, because I think there's a lot of people who aren't going to know how. They don't know how to have those conversations with a person, watching their mouth and listening to body language and being able to know who's true and who's false. Right? Because we've been very conditioned for the last couple of years to try and pick up hints on things that are probably mostly virtual. Yeah, and that's really hard to reconnect.
That's true.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to a point of, what both of you said, it's not always about, sometimes we almost put ourselves on a back burner of like, why would somebody, want me or with my condition? Why not?
Yeah.
We should all look at ourselves or feel that, why we always have that negative first mentality. We should have that more, I am special for someone. Someone would love me. I know of that. Just because we do get the rejections once and twice, that don't mean we stop trying. Because at the end of the day, there is going to be that one person that's going to treat you and show you that unconditional love that we genuinely have. Because I've seen it for myself. And it's not because of sympathy. It's not because of, oh, you want to don't be seen with someone that has like a health condition and you give in the pity party. It's because genuinely the spirit of that person, the love, the character, because sometimes we just think so negative, and it's like we beat down ourselves too much, and knowing that, okay, yeah, we might meet the jerks here or there, but there is that king, there is that queen that's waiting, that's knowing that when they do get you, you get the appreciation, but sometimes, yet again, we go back to not being able to wait, and the one or two rejections, we just feel like, oh, it's never going to happen. It's not, it's a wrong way of thinking of life,
I agree, but it's hard because we are surrounded by it every day.
Yeah.
You can't get away from it. It's really hard.
Yeah. But we could control how we react, though. That's the
Absolutely.
one thing we have control of is our emotions. The world could be going crazy, but if we keep our serenity, everything else is outside is blocked. We get to control that, how we react.
Absolutely.
That's one thing,
Absolutely. So then that brings me to the next question. What does a healthy relationship look like?
That's a good one.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
I'm never going to tell
It's never
anybody,
perfect.
oh, you're never going to have arguments or disagreements or anything. Every relationship has challenges.
Yeah.
You don't know what life is going to throw at you, but you have to be willing and able to work on it together. You have to remember that it's not just about you. You have to be willing to work with your partner and bring your relationship healthy. Healthy is not perfect. Healthy is just stable.
Healthy is I would say too, a healthy relationship is serving each other. It's not, it's like you're in a band. We have the lead, we have we work together to produce a good family. Parents come together, have the children, raise the household in a proper way, not comparing, oh, well, the Joneses raise their kids this way or have this type of relationship. We're not the Joneses. We're us. So we work together and build what we want to have as our perspective on a healthy relationship. Because as I said, society, we're going to be comparing. You can't compare one relationship to the next. We don't know what they talk about. We don't know how they act. Everybody could be different, but that's okay. That makes it unique, because then now we could learn from each other. I might be good at one thing, she might be better. She's going to teach me. I might be good at one other thing, she might not. So I teach her. So it's a up and up. We keep growing. That's how I think.
I agree. And I just want to take note to say to Tiffany, you are so deserving of all the love that you should have. Thank you for sharing your comment. And, I hope that you can gain some confidence out of this conversation in our community.
Oh, yeah.
Cam, what does a healthy relationship look like for you?
Listening to Stefan give his answer and also just really thinking about the question. And I think the big operative word there is healthy. And healthy is so relative, because what looks like healthy for me now at 33 is going to be very different at 34, 40, and so on. And I think what it comes down to is alignment with your partner, right? And alignment comes from communication. Sometimes it comes from nonverbal communication. It comes from actual physical health, holding each other accountable. Like, if you're with someone, making the conscious decision to eat healthier, to exercising together, to do all the things that should seemingly make you guys better in all facets, whether that's physically, sexually, spiritually, whatever dynamic that builds up the relationship, and knowing that is going to change with time, right? That's why I said the operative word there is healthy, and that is going to evolve. So things that I may be interested in now, I may not be down the road. And I think Stefan really hit the nail on the head there with having a partner, having someone that may be better at certain things, and not allowing your ego to feel defeated, but rather have that person nurture you so you guys grow together to become that power couple. So I haven't really truly had many healthy relationships, at least ones that have sustained. So I know what my aspirations are, and I really appreciate Stefan and his wife for sharing what has worked for them, because a lot of wisdom in those years and tears, I'm sure.
I know, man. Listen.
Well, I think you hit it on the head there too, Cam, with, ego. It can be our worst enemy, right? And I think in that term of healthy, ego needs to have a seat at the far end of the table. Not where the rest of the family is for the most part, and family being just even the couple itself, right? Because you are, I think, as you said, Cam, too, we're always in a state of evolution. That's just humans, right? I think we forget that when we come into a relationship. We go, oh, well, I'm this way and I'm going to be this way forever. And we're not, because scientifically we can't be. Our body changes, our cells change. So we're never going to stay the same. But how can we best evolve without our ego taking over and disrupting whatever you're trying to build? That's a really good highlight on some very specific things. Monique, what do you think?
Well, I don't have a dog in this fight too much. I don't have any experience in that relationship part.
Don't say that.
What I aspire for one to look like, I don't have any. I was telling my friends the other day, like one of the couples, the famous celebrity couples that writes the books on the relationships and they get a divorce, right?
Yeah.
I don't read that crap, like, honestly, because nobody's relationship is perfect. And like I said, I think healthy is the best term. And because healthy is something, your health is something that fluctuates and you work at, right? Like right now I'm in a period of sucking with taking care of my lymphedema. I'm completely sucking at it. It's off the rails, but I know what to do to make it better. I know where I need to be conservative on my eating, or I need to, my focus is. And I think for me, whatever that's kind of how I compare what my healthy relationship looks like. Somebody that's willing to focusing on what we need to work on and the areas that we need to sustain and the things that work for us and that make us happy. I want to be in a loving, fun, honest, relationship, and whatever that looks like or that encompasses the actions. That's what I want. So I think it's more action based than just feeling based, and doing the work to make it healthy. So that's my 5 cents.
That's good stuff, right? I mean, let's be honest. That perception that it's supposed to be 50-50 is not reality, right? Because it fluctuates all the time. But I think one of the key things that we haven't really necessarily identified is making sure that we are healthy coming into that relationship, right? That we are in a good place. Because I think every time we enter a relationship and we're not in a good place, it's not a good recipe.
Of course.
Right? If we are communicating, if we are in our best, healthiest form that we can be, especially mentally and emotionally, we know our physicality will fluctuate without our control. We can help guide it, but I think also being able to, I'll ask the question, when do you tell someone, if it's not obvious, when do you tell someone that you have this illness? Right? Because if you're looking at somebody on a screen, just, Antonia, no offense, if he was not together with you, if you were looking at someone on a screen, when would you say something?
Yeah. I've wondered that too.
I mean, for me, I like with the online dating, I say it up front, like in my profile, I would literally put full body pictures. I say, I have lymphedema, Google it.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you Google it and you see the worst and the best and you still respond, great. If not, don't even, it's cool. Like, I get it. Cause there's certain things I'm not going to settle for. Like, if your teeth are jacked up, that's okay for me. Like, I mean, not to be vain, but there's things that just because I have lymphedema, I'm not going to settle for somebody that I'm not attracted to. You know what I mean? Or the personality sucks. There's just things that we all have it. And it's fine if you can't physically accept what I'm going to have to deal with, and because you're going to have to deal with it too.
Exactly.
So I tell up front, you know, and so it doesn't hurt my feelings when either people don't message me or swipe or whatever. Like what used to hurt my feelings was like you message me, you ask more questions, and then you ghost me because I feel like I said it up front, player. Like you ain't gotta play these games. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
Peace out to you. So that used to hurt my feelings, but then I'm like, man, God be redirecting. I'll be like, thank you, Lord.
Exactly.
I don't look at it as rejection. I look at it as redirection, and you know, saving me from somebody that wasn't for me. So
exactly.
But yeah, upfront. I'm always upfront because when you see me in person too, you can't hide it. I can't hide mine. So you know, it's I'm that person wearing baggy sweatpants or a dress in the wintertime. You know what I mean? So they're like, what are you doing? But
exactly. That's how it should be though. I mean, it's a part of me. It's me, you know, it's not like why, you know, you talk about something if it's gonna make somebody uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I don't think you shouldn't have to feel like, oh, well, I need to hide anything, you know? Who am I? You see, we live in a society that everybody could be open with themselves. So why should I feel that I have to hide or I have to feel like I have to give the disclaimer? I'm me regardless. My character is bigger than lymphedema. You know, I had my standards before lymphedema. Lymphedema is just on the ride with me. You know, I'm not riding along with lymphedema. So it's supposed to be that. If I'm an advocate, if I'm pushing for the community or anything like that, that's who I am. So you'll see that up front. So that's your choice if you want to be a part. But I'm still me. And I'm still going to be proud of me. I'm still going to love on me. I'm still going to appreciate who I am. So are you going to appreciate that too? If I'm telling you, if you don't, well, hey, that's cool. I might not be your cup of tea, but I'm somebody else's cup of tea, you know? So that's how it has to be.
Right.
I get that. I'm sorry. I get that things are different now than how it was back when we started dating. Because back then, it's not that he came outright and told me. I mean, I knew him from before, but I didn't really used to talk to him. And then when we started actually talking and stuff, his lymphedema, it wasn't as pronounced as it is now. So you still wouldn't have noticed. And then we were mostly on the computer. So I got to know him, his personality. So it didn't matter to me that, okay, he has a sickness. It's not contagious. It is what it is. I'm that kind of person that I learned to live with it. I tell you how I feel about it and we work together. I'm not going to just hold it in and then just disappear on you. So it depends on the person too. I mean, sometimes people tell me I'm different, but I tend to deal with things a lot differently than other people. So I guess I'm a little more understanding.
Right. We need more people like you. Yes. Cam, what about yourself?
So my answer has changed over time. Like if you would have asked me the same question in 2019, like before I became a lymphedema ambassador, etc., I would have been of the type to hide it, right? And by me hiding it, living in Texas, just like in Atlanta and Florida, when it's really hot and humid in the summertime, when you're at the lake or the beach and you're with your friends, maybe you're even at a bar and you don't want to wear pants and you wear shorts. Well, I always had the ability to wear shorts without my compression garment because you couldn't really tell, because I would always wear my nighttime garments. I would always pump. I would always do those other things. So I could get away with being out in public and being perceived as normal because I didn't want anyone to know about it. I was kind of vain with my looks and also how I judged the opposite sex for their looks and how they carried themselves. But it wasn't until after I truly accepted the lymphedema that it was just a part of my life, but it's not my life. That's where I had, now even in the summertime, like right after this, I'm going to go work out and it's 90 something degrees and I'm going to, go do some of my physical therapy stuff, but I'm going to wear my garment and I'm going to wear it proud because it's a conversation starter, but it's what's best for my body. Exactly. And if I can't take care of myself first, I'm not going to be a good boyfriend. I'm not going to be a good spouse. I'm not going to be a good father. So Now, there are times where it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially because I'm kind of in the unique situation in the group in that I used to work for a lymphedema pump company. Now I work for Learn, which is a lymphedema nonprofit. I can't get away from lymphedema, not only with my case, but everybody else's case. And some people say, like, how do you turn off? Like, what motivates you? Wouldn't you get tired of that? And there's moments as a human being where, like, feelings, they come into play, but I consider it a gift from God to have a platform and to have an extroverted personality and to have thick skin and to be able to show my emotions and be able to lend my ears and my voice for other people who are suffering. So, in a long roundabout way, when do I talk about it? It's date one, because you can't know me without knowing that this is a community that I care about every single day. This is a community that I've devoted my life to. And if you're going to know me, you're going to know flaws and all. And some people would say, okay, lymphedema, yeah, it's a flaw. But as I've gotten older and come to peace with it, kind of as Stefan was talking about earlier, I'm reversing that negative self-talk. And my lymphedema is a blessing because it gives me empathy for others. It gives me a work ethic to prioritize my health. And it keeps me driven to make lives better for future lymphedema patients who haven't been born into this corrupt world that is systemically jacked up in every single country when it comes to lymphedema awareness and education. So short answer, I talk about it whenever I start introducing myself.
Exactly.
Well, you're a great ambassador for our community, Cam, and I'm sure we all, have learned a little bit by your stewardship, if you will, of living with it, and all of you. I think it's really important for everyone who may be watching this now or watching it in the future needs to understand that there is a community here to support you, and that we're accessible. All of us are on social media. We are accessible to be communicated to. And for the right reasons, enter a conversation, find out what life is like. I think we're all open to sharing and being able to communicate with people so that they know that they're not alone. I think, true compatibility, coming back to dating, comes from this matching of values mixed with chemistry. Right. And so I would ask, now I know, Stefan, you are happily married, but the question will be, what would you look for in a partner?
For a partner, for me, always, I've always kind of said what I look for in a partner.
What was it that you looked for in a partner?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What I look for,
you better be past tense.
Hey,
I'll be looking for that sofa tonight.
You can change it. I'll just change the
But no, to be honest though, what I always look for in my relationship, and I crack jokes with Antonio all the time, and I was like, not to sound cheesy, but your characteristics is exactly where I was looking for. I was looking for all the needs, what I need from a partner. What are the things that I need, not just the wants. The wants is you don't have to have all the fancy clothes, the super face, and all of this. I was not interested in those type of things. I wanted needs for my relationship. We all know what it was to look for a girl that was either like super pretty or popular or something like that, just for that aspect. But as I got older, I was looking for somebody that I can grow with, someone that I could raise a family with, someone that could be a mother, provider, influence, have impact. That's what I was looking for. Those are the qualities I was looking for, to strive that, to get to the old age, to be that couple that you grow old with. That was genuinely where I was looking for. And, humbleness, being able to learn from that person. That's what I wanted. And I told Antonio all the time, like, you exactly fell into that category. I mean, I never knew it would have been you, but your qualities, the content of your character is everything that was on my checklist for needs, not the wants, the needs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm happy you found each other.
Yeah, man. Took some time, but I got there.
Good. Well, she obviously thought you were very worthy to stick around and to make it through that next step.
I'll be very honest. I did not like stuff on.
That's why it's so funny. That's why it's funny. That's why it's so funny.
And look where you are now.
Exactly.
But I think that's testament to the idea of that we do have this like superficial idea maybe of the wants.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it truly that we need in a partner?
Yeah.
I'm the oldest out of all of us on the screen, and being in your 50s and being single is kind of like, well, what are you looking for? I would just like a partner. I'm not worried about having a title of having a husband per se or anything like that, but it's very hard, I think, to get out of those things that we are very conditioned to say that we want, not necessarily need, but want. And it's very interesting to see what the next two are going to answer to this question. So who wants to go first? Monique or Cam? Which one?
Wherever you are in my square.
Whichever square.
Yeah.
So,
ladies first, please.
It's funny because when the question came up, I pulled up my notes app on my iPhone because I literally have a list, because I feel like part of like manifesting, I need to see it and then go through it and be like, So I go back and I periodically either add stuff or take stuff off. And I speak to more of what I know I want versus like the things I don't want, because I feel like all of that fluctuates. And at least if they have these basic characteristics, like I love to laugh. So like number one, they have to be funny, and I am random. I do random things, like, like I'll be cooking and I'll jump down in a twerk or something, like they have to be engaging.
Spontaneous?
Yeah, spontaneous, like the food tastes good, you do a little jig and then a little drop down, like I need somebody that appreciates my humor. They're funny. I'm a conversationalist. I love to chat and talk about all subjects. So they have to be well spoken and understanding and empathetic and kind, respectful. I'm always with my friends, so they need to get along with my friends. And those things, the things that are important to me in life, we need to be on the same page in those regards. Now, there's other things like I could say, oh, I don't want him to be this short, or he can't do this, or those are things that would change. Because what I noticed about my dating pattern, like in my earlier years when I feel like I was very superficial, like I dated one kind of guy, and they literally could probably be like stand-ins for each other. So I was like, dang, maybe I do have a type. And then, but the better I got to know myself and love myself, like it's a plethora. I welcome them all, And but yeah, they have to be funny. That's number one for me. And the only no thing I have is they cannot be a narcissist. I can't deal with it. I can't. I'm like, I look up the definition. I go back to Red Table Talk and listen to, what did she say? Narcissist? Oh yeah. Danger. I see you, red flag. But that's for me. Those are some of the qualities, somebody that's hardworking, and wouldn't mind, because I feel like I have big things planned for my life. So if I become Oprah rich, you know what I mean? I need a Stedman, and you got to be okay with that. So, not somebody else.
No place better like that.
I'm also great with being taken care of. So if you are a Bill Gates, like I'm good. So, but yeah, that's me. Okay.
You're up, Cam.
So I think it was last week when I was working out with my trainer, they always play like old school or like early 2000s hip hop and stuff. And a song came on that I hadn't heard on in years. It was by Diddy or Puff Daddy or whatever names he goes by now. But it was "I Need a Girl" Part 2 or something.
Oh,
and there's a verse in there that said, "What I need is simple: 5'5" with dimples, potential wife credentials." And so, and I was like, okay, I hadn't heard that in forever, but I guess the older I got, that's catchier to me, but not because of the physical attributes of that, but like the end about wife potential, right? And so my dating habits and my goals have changed as I've gotten older. And one thing about growing up in the South, and I'm sure it's similar in Atlanta, but a lot of my good friends, they found their person in college, right? Or shortly thereafter, and they kind of follow this societal Southern algorithm. You get married, you have kids before you're 30. And if you don't do those things, you're falling behind, right? There must be something wrong with you if you don't attribe to that social constructed behavior. So I'm kind of similar to Monique in that a lot of my dating, I've had, I guess, a type, if you will. And I've kind of had a running list too, but it's a list of what I don't want because of learned experiences, right? But what I've been told from other, people in my social circles, it's a lot of my good buddies, their wives, I asked them, hey, how did you know so-and-so was the right one? And they kind of came back to the non-negotiables, things that were important to them. And for me, I guess the non-negotiable was a woman of faith, right? I've grown in my relationship with God, and I know that if I'm going to continue to grow, I need a spiritual woman who will hold me accountable. I can hold her accountable, and ultimately we can grow together. It's not a matter of me dating a non-believer and having to pull her into the faith, right? That's not my job. So I feel that there has to be alignment on virtues, right? And so everything else will follow. And I would be lying if I said I didn't have physical characteristics that I was attracted to. But I think the older I get, the person's heart, their soul, and their personality, that will sustain much longer than her flat stomach and big hips or whatever it is I'm into at that point in my life.
Exactly.
So I'm still trying to figure it out, but I know what my non-negotiables are. And if you hold true to that and do not compromise on that, I know God will put that right person in his time. And that's the other thing. It's his time. It's not my time.
Exactly.
Well said. Well said. So brings me to our last question to discuss, which is, if you could wave a magic wand and have your romantic relationship be exactly the way you wanted, what would it look like 5 years from now?
I'm curious what the married couples got to say.
I know.
Hey man,
Trying to calculate my age.
For me, I'm trying to count. I'm trying to count the kids I could get to kind of get in between them 5 years, man. Like,
are they all
dude,
going to
Stefan, you're supposed to start with
Yeah.
I hope 5 years from now I'm still married, right?
yeah, nah, man.
No,
that's
it.
come on, that's
I'm
a
done.
question.
I told him from the start, I don't believe in divorce. So I'm sorry. If you're in this, you're in this.
And I told her already, because we've been together for like so long distance. I told her the only way I'm gonna leave, I jokingly say that, is like we gotta double past the time we've been together physically, and then by that time we're gonna already be in our 80s. So we're already on the way out of here anyway. So there's no going nowhere else, But you see, to me, that's the next thing too, because when we have that insight, there's no leaving, we work it out. We could get upset, we could be mad, your back could be this way to the bed, mine could be that way, but I'm here for the long haul, because in the times when we was long distance, I made sure like I wanted this. So why now when I get it, we should use we arguing too much now, let's just divorce? Like, pressure is good sometimes. Arguing is good sometimes. It makes us keep working better. It's like, okay, let's communicate more. But 5 years from now, I would say a couple more of these kids, living life and just enjoying it,
That's heavy work you just passed on there.
You gotta just smoothly slide it in there and just end the conversation, pass it to Monique or Cam, just ending part is, that's the hashtag. You said,
Hey Alexa, play Marvin Gaye, and then I'm gonna set it off for you. Y'all are gonna be having kids after this in no time. I would say in 5 years, Lauren Daigle and I are married. We're expecting our second kid. No, I mean, I use Lauren Daigle because that's kind of someone I put on a pedestal. I shouldn't, but she's a woman of faith. She's a beautiful Cajun queen, has a sensational voice, but just to name a few attributes. But I mean, I would love to be married in the next 5 years, and hopefully expecting a kid or adopting a kid, whatever God puts into our lives. But you know what, though? This is an aspiration. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. Because I think the big takeaway here, I know the topic is dating with lymphedema.
Yep.
Just because you're single does not mean you are incomplete. And I've finally come to peace with that. And, the way that I had a platform was because going on a dating show, trying to find love, and where it was all about like, you're nobody until you find somebody. And I've had that headspace for as long as I can remember, watching rom-coms when I was young, right, and loving all these romantic songs. But the more in love you can be with yourself and with your creator, everything else will stem from that. So that's my big takeaway, is just because I'm not with somebody now doesn't mean that I'm not going to be with somebody in the future. And if I'm not with somebody in the future, that's okay. I have me, I have my family, I have my faith, and I have the lymphedema community. So you're never truly alone.
Exactly. 100%, brother.
Man. Monique, what about you?
Well, 5 years from now, I know I'll be married. I'm all about speaking it and declaring it. So I'll be married and I'll have 2 kids.
That's what I'm saying. Make it 3.
Hey,
that's a lot in 5 years.
Look,
you ain't got no time to waste.
She could have triplets. You never know.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Just make it up for lost times. Let's see.
Yeah.
I see that because I always tell people, like, my friends are like, "Are you sure you want kids?" Because a lot of my friends have kids and are married and so forth, and I'm the fun aunt. And they're like, "You sure you want kids?" And I always joke with them, like, I cannot go to any more dance recitals because your kids are just not doing anything. Okay, 3 hours of watching them up and down is like not thrilling. But I truly do want kids. I feel like God gave me all these wonderful attributes to be a great partner in life, and why wouldn't He give me what I know is on my heart and what He's put on my heart? So I don't feel incomplete. Like, whatever life brings me, it brings me. And what I've learned to is pivot. Like, did I envision being single at 36? No. But this is the life, and I feel like it's made me a better person, a more understanding person, a more loving person, empathetic. And, so I do want my kids. I'm going to, grow in my career and just enjoy life. I want to be happy in 5 years. And whatever that happiness looks like in 5 years, that's what I want. Yeah. So, yes.
Yeah.
That's a
all
good
right.
answer.
Power to you if it's 3 children, because
well, my mom is one of
all at once. It's still a lot of work.
My mom is one of 21, so I got lots of first cousins, and, and my dad is a fraternal twin. So
yes,
we'll see.
As we get older, the likelihood of that increases.
Hey, whatever the Lord giveth.
Yeah. Well, this has been great, everyone. I'm really thankful that you all were so honest and, really engaged with this conversation, because I think it's a long overdue conversation. I think, we'll try and have another one down the road and maybe some impromptu IG lives about it. But I think it's really, we wanted to give a platform to be able to start the conversation and to be able to encourage people to have more conversations about this, because I think it's a really concerning part outside of our health with lymphedema is, what does relationship building look like, whether it's romantic or not? I think it's really challenging for people to understand that they can trust and they can explore and they can really, learn about themselves a lot more through the process of really figuring out what it is that they want out of relationships. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Great conversation. It's definitely needed on a regular basis because everybody learns.
Learns things change, right? I mean, we all change. We've spoken about it many times, how we've changed over the years. And I think, from our young followers to our older followers, we all need to learn to adapt and change to what those things are and to our changing environment, right? We've got a world that we have to live in that is changing around us that we have no control over. So we need to learn how to adapt and how to make sure that we do the best, as you said, to have a healthy relationship and make that one with yourself so that you can be better with another.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thanks so much, everybody.
No
And
problem.
we'll look forward to seeing this on our Instagram and our Facebook and our YouTube channel. Talk to you soon, guys. Take care.
Have a good one.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.